Lubanzi
loluthando olwabantu
luncane
olwabantu isigcino
luyaphela
olwabantu
luncane
isigcino
luyaphela
uthando
lungaka
loluthando
lungaka
uthando uthando lungaka uthando lungaka uthando uthando lungaka uthando loluthando
uthando lungaka
Thank you. Right. Ake senzeke siyabonga kakhulu sikholwa brothers sicela ukwenza ingoma yetheku. Sithi ke woza eThekwini. Wolalela mfana. Ake
kukhulunywa ngetheku
ake
uthule mfana kukhulunywa ngetheku ake uthule mfana kukhulunywa ngetheku ake uthule mfana kukhulunywa ngetheku ulalele sikhuluma ngetheku ake ulalele sikhuluma ngetheku ake ulalele sikhuluma ngetheku
konani
eThekwini kunandi ngoba kunolwandle
konani eThekwini
iICC
konani eThekwini
eThekwini amahotela negateway
konani eThekwini
isikhumulo semikhumbi abanye bathi semtateni ukonorisho mfana eceleni kweKingspark basanda usakhela ikasino thina
eThekwini
kukhona iKingshire Airport
ele baba eThekwini
umkhandlu omkhulu nayonke
ele bayo
umasipala
umongameli wekala uMandela wavotela phi
eThekwini
inhlangano yamazwe African Union yalontshwa phi
eThekwini
ungquthela yomhlaba yabanjelwa phi
eThekwini abantu bafuna uzeThekwini osekhona ufuna uzeThekwini ukuphi neza ufuna uzeThekwini uphesheya kwezilwa ufuna uzeThekwini thina leThekwini sisikhibele thina leThekwini sisikhibele
woza woza
woza
woza ma woza
woza woza
woza ma eThekwini
woza
sinakho konke kokuhle
woza
Shaka Marine
woza
ikhona
woza
Shaka Marine
woza
ikhona
woza
Shaka Marine
woza
ikhona
woza
Isibaya Casino
woza
sikhona
woza
Bridge City
woza
ikhona
woza
Mega City nayo ikhona
woza
woza wena uzobona
woza
woza wena uzojabula kwela kithi manje akuve kumnandi kwela kithi akuve kumnandi kwela kithi ilizwe akuve kumnandi kwela kithi province akuve kumnandi woza wena uzobona woza wena uzojabula woza ma woza ke woza ma
woza
woza
woza woza woza
woza wena uzobona woza wena uzojabula Two, three, two, one, two, three. Okay. Siyabonga. Yabona ke siyabonga kakhulu. Leso ishaya la eyethu nje sonke ngoba siyazi ukuthi sinohlanga lomhlabathi la. eKZN kwaZulu nje jikele. Okay. Dlondlobana unelolu desilo samabandla unelolu desilo samabandla unelolu dehlanga lomhlabathi unelolu dengangezwe lakhe unelolu desilo samabandla unelolu desilo samabandla unelolu dehlanga lomhlabathi unelolu dengangezwe lakhe kuya umenjalo ndabezitha silo samabandla lezo ndaba zinkulu lezo ndaba zogcotshwa kwakho silo samabandla lezo ndaba zinkulu lezo ndaba zobekwa kwakho silo samabandla alivumiswe Kotamis, Fumilis, Fumilis, Kotamis, Fumilis, Kotamis, Fumilis, Kotamis, Asume baba, asume, asume lizwe, asume,
kuliphi izwethu esanjalo izwethu esanjalo kuliphi
babengaphi
babengapha thina singapha kwafa umuntu uginga
babengaphi
babe ngapha thina singapha kwafa umuntu uginga
wenkonyane kandaba kwanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kandaba
Wanyakaza umkhonto
wenkonyane kandaba
wanyakaza umkhonto
wenkonyane kandaba
wanyakaza umkhonto
wenkonyane kandaba
wanyakaza umkhonto
wenkonyane kandaba
wanyakaza umkhonto
yasola manje
wanyakaza umkhonto
wenkonyane kandaba
wanyakaza umkhonto
wenkonyane kandaba
wanyakaza umkhonto
wenkonyane kandaba
wanyakaza umkhonto
yasola manje
wanyakaza umkhonto
ethekwini
wanyakaza umkhonto
enyokeni
wanyakaza umkhonto
wenkonyane kandaba
wanyakaza umkhonto
wenkonyane kandaba
wanyakaza umkhonto
wenkonyane kandaba
wanyakaza umkhonto wanyakaza umkhonto wanyakaza umkhonto wanyakaza umkhonto wanyakaza umkhonto wanyakaza umkhonto wanyakaza wanyakaza umkhonto wanyakaza umkhonto wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kandaba wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kandaba
wenkonyane kandaba
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kandaba
wenkonyane kandaba
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kandaba wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kandaba wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kandaba wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kandaba wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kandaba
wenkonyane kandaba
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kandaba wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kandaba wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kandaba wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kandaba wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kandaba wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kandaba wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kandaba wanyakaza wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kandaba 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 wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kandaba
wenkonyane kandaba
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kandaba
wenkonyane kandaba
wanyakaza umkhonto wenkonyane kandaba
izwi lethu esasholo kuliphi siyabonga thank you siyabonga
Siyabonga kwi-Kholwa Brothers labo bethu abakhula amatshe sathambile kukhona uhlelo okwakuthiwa uChothoza mfana where the makings of people like Professor Shabalala were seen to be information. And I think the next generation of Professor Shabalala is in the making kule group esiyibonayo. And thank you very much, Kholwa Brothers. Hopefully, we will not have to wait 3 decades before we get another Grammy Award to South Africa. You'll work towards another Grammy Award for South Africa through this genre. I-program yanamhlanje na sizoyenza, kodwa ke we're just going to make adjustments. Ungakhathazeki kakhulu ukuthi asilandeli lokhu okubona phambi kwakho, but we are going to go through all the items that are on the program. And ke kuhle lapho kuba program director une prerogative yokuyishintsha nje into. And you'll just bear with me as I exercise the powers vested in me as the program director in just changing around the program. We have an overrun in the program that the MEC, rather the minister and the mayor are involved in, and therefore we will then move on with the program and ask Baba Ustembiso Madlala, the chairperson of the Social Cohesion Consortium in eThekwini and our province, to come forward and give us a presentation yake on social cohesion and nation building. And he'll give us a briefing on how far we have moved with this project kwi-region yaseThekwini. Baba Madlala, hloko.
Ngibonge Khumbuza. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. It's quite a great honor for me to stand here today to make this presentation on behalf of the KZN Social Cohesion Consortium. As it has been mentioned, my name is Stembiso Madlala. So I'll try to be as quick as possible in my presentation. But a few observations since yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. Izinto nje umuntu ayibonile. Some of the emergent issues and keywords, even nakuma group discussions, umuntu wa-observer. It's all about coordination. People are talking about coordination. People also were talking about the alignment of all our programs. You'll find that there are many institutions and organizations that are doing more or less the same thing. So that kind of alignment and coordination and working together of different stakeholders become even more critical. Another very interesting observation was today during the presentation of groups. Actually, they captured the essence of what this conference is all about. I think they deserve a big round of applause. Thank you very much. You did a great job on that one. So, as a consortium, our focus is also on dealing with the person, the citizen, the human being. This reminds me of a story I heard a long time ago of a 5-year-old son who was now and again trying to engage with his father, who was busy preparing a sermon for the following day. And the father looked at something that would keep the young man busy. Then he found a magazine. In the magazine, he saw that there was a map, lapho yase South Africa. Then I tateke ubaba just to keep this young man busy, and he cut it into pieces. Then they say, hey, niggas, go and put this together as some form of a puzzle. Ahambeke umfana ayokwenza lokho. So the preacher thought the boy was going to take for almost an hour to fix the puzzle. Guess what? Within 3 minutes, the young boy was back. Dad, I've fixed it. How did you manage to fix the South African map that was so complicated? He said, Dad, what you did not notice, at the back of that page or picture of South Africa that you gave me, Underneath there was a picture of a human being. So what I did, I turned over, I fixed that man, then turned it around, then the map was fixed. The moral of the story. Thank you. So we can deal with the infrastructure, safety and security, everything, but unless we change the mindset of the South African as a citizen, we will fail. So that is basically our focus as the consortium, to say we've tried our level best as the police service, as the municipality, as civil society, and everyone as citizens. But it seems as if we are losing the battle because we are not focusing on fixing the person. What we call building a model citizen, a responsible citizen. Everywhere in the news, everyone is complaining about the city that is dirty. But who is making the city dirty? Is this person, is this citizen that we do, who's doing crime? So it's all about changing the mindset. That's why the Bible says that we should change ziguqulwe ingqondo zenu. Unless sishintsha ingqondo zama South Africans nabahlali bethu, nothing will happen. So that's our point of departure as this consortium. By the way, I'm a preacher. I find myself preaching, I'm sorry. Moving on, thank you very much. So the Social Cohesion Consortium was established in 2019 thanks to the municipality, Kumbuza. You were there. Eric Applegreen assisted quite a lot in the formation of the consortium that is constituted by 27 civil society organizations, but it's still open also for other civil society organizations. It was a response to the challenges facing KZN in particular, and KZN in general and eThekwini in particular. These are some of the members during the launch and the workshop of the KZN Social Cohesion Consortium. So our intervention so far, we have intervened in the field of prevention of xenophobic tendencies and attacks through public awareness and social engagement. So it's all about raising awareness amongst our people, that as South Africans, as Abenguni, as AmaZulu, it's a foreign culture ukuhlukumeza abantu ongobena bendawo. Bazongifakazela abanye abazi isiZulu kahle ukuthi ngokwesiZulu igama elithi ukubandlulula alikho, liyisono. Into esiyenzayo thina amaZulu okufanele siyilungise ngoba isize yabuka kanjenge xenophobia, siyabalula asibandlululi. Angazi khona abasifunda isiZulu. Ukubalula is a description to sithi umnumzane umadlala lo ohlala lapha lo owukuthi usibanibani muphi lo wempandla siyabalula nisho uchirwali muphi awuchirwali lo yaya wasekuthanathaneni ukubalula. So indaba ye discrimination ibingekho bakithi. It's a foreign culture and we need to nip it in the bud. In the bud. So also we're trying to bring about peace and stability, especially during we worked hard to bring about peace and stability during the July 2021 social unrest. Our members individually and collectively worked very hard to bring about peace, sometimes working in very risky situations. So we are now trying to bring together all the experiences that we gained during that process to prevent the happening of such unrest, because in our country and in KZN in particular, it's just a trigger that can bring about such an unrest. So we're dealing with those triggers. Working with migrants, working with communities affected by the floods. Those are some of the interventions that we have made, ladies and gentlemen. We have our objectives there. I won't go through all of them, but it's just to educate, raise awareness, and mobilize communities and other social partners. Be proactive in preventing social unrest. We call it social engagement intelligence, which I think is what we are lacking, all of us. The uprisings, whatever name you call it, caught us off guard. But already the reality is that there were some early warning signs that we sometimes maybe Kumbuza decided to ignore. So we can no longer afford that luxury of ignoring the signs that something is going to happen in our municipality in particular. Create conducive platforms and safe spaces for community engagement. We are very much involved in dialogues, and we are very optimistic that these dialogues will culminate in the signing of ward-based social compacts. We've heard our president talking about social compacts, but our approach is a bit different. It's a grassroots approach, it's a bottom-up approach. What about having a ward-based social compact? Because social compacts are just simply commitment from all social partners and stakeholders to make a difference in their respective wards, in their respective zones. Then it will culminate into a municipality-based social compact. So our enabling legislative instrument, achieving social cohesion through initial building, is premised upon ENDP, which is the National Development Plan, which calls for South Africans to build a socially cohesive society and to concentrate on broadening opportunity and employment through economic inclusion, education, and skills development. These are some of the key elements of what the NDP calls us to do. Then our program of action, we have 8 thematic areas. I won't go through all of them. Suffice to say that the first one is to build a strong and capable and impactful civil society. Those who grew up were involved in social and community activities in the 80s and the early 90s will agree with me that civics or civil society was a very strong force in those days. So we want to revive that culture of civil society being a strong and a capable social partner of all the other partners. It will be done through institutional development and also formation of strategic partners. Training and capacity building. We've already started to train community-based community engagement facilitators who will conduct the trainings that we are providing and also facilitate social cohesion, engagement, and other workshops and dialogue. We are optimistic that the municipality will join us and maybe provide some resources in as much as some individual organizations are contributing something, but it's not enough. We, as I've said, we have started to accredit and capacitate these community engagement facilitators. These are some of those people who have qualified as community engagement facilitators, or as we call them, social engagement facilitators. Social compacting, I've already explained this, that we are looking at the situation where we have a community-based social compact moving forward up to the municipality, the district, the province, then to the national. This is just the sample or an example of a social compact. For instance, the responsibility and the commitment of the municipality will be be accessible and provide quality service in a sustainable manner. The role of community members: engage elected officials, attend meetings, pay for services, and protect infrastructure and services. Make information accessible about local development projects and ensure that communities fully engage. Participate in local processes such as IDP and so on and so on. This is just a sample of how social compact that is community-based will or should look like. Theme number 4, using arts, as we have seen Amakholwa Brothers. That is part of our dialogues because we are using 5 conversations, which we call the arts of conversation. The 5th conversation is called the gift conversation, where we allow community members to share their talents, their gifts, and their skills. So that's why in theme number 4, we have arts, sports. We use arts, sports, culture, and symbolic spiritual events as instruments for social cohesion and nation building. We're looking at the formation of a social cohesion, arts, culture, and sports society. So there are many other activities. Previously, when we were working with on voter education, we used to have entertainment, drama theater. We want those theater performances to go back into our communities and our community structures and our halls to be very busy with social cohesion activities. Community cultural exchange visits to expose people to different communities. We're not only focusing on township visits and other areas, but we're also looking at international visits, African countries visits, because the reality of the matter, ladies and gentlemen, is that apartheid confined us so much. We were never exposed to the outside world, especially as African or South Africans, Black South Africans. So some of the things that we call xenophobia are some of them are based on just sheer ignorance and of not understanding how other people live in other countries. So we are trying to promote this cultural exchange, visiting different communities and sharing experiences. Theme number 5, civic education, democracy and voter education, gender awareness, human rights education, and crime awareness. Some of the things that are captured there were well captured with Kuma presentations that were presented by the respective groups. Migration dialogues and migration awareness media campaign. We've already started with migration dialogues, starting with our communities that are volatile and are risky, and we are spreading also to other communities. Also, the entrepreneurship workshops and exhibition of local goods. It's very important to bring together the local business people, the foreign nationals or foreign migrants, and the local business people, so that they can be able to share their experiences. The notion leyokuthi bathatha imisebenzi yethu, they are stealing our jobs. Bathathe wonke ama-tuck shops ethu, bathathe yonke imisebenzi yethu. So it's about also engaging to say, how can we learn from your experiences as foreign migrants? How can we make sure that also the money that is generated in the township also is circulated maybe 3 or 4 times before it gets out of the township? Those are the things we are talking about in these workshops. In theme number 6, conflict management, mediation, interventions, and healing of memories. We have an organization that specializes in healing of memories, acknowledging the fact that in as much as we can try to address the socio-economic issues that are affecting us, ladies and gentlemen, but the reality of the matter is that we are a wounded nation. And the transformation process and reconciliation process, it just scraped the surface. Deeply we are wounded and we haven't healed, and we haven't reconciled with each other. So the healing of memories is about us as the people of this country, as eThekwini, to realize that the violence that we see today somehow is a vicious cycle. It's been going on because apartheid by itself was a very violent system that was declared in 1973 by the United Nations as a crime against humanity. So having spent more than 50 years under apartheid and 350 years under colonialism, the damage is too much, the woundedness is multiple. So we need to delve deeper into why are South Africans so angry? Especially why are our young people so angry? Those who haven't even experienced violence or apartheid. In other countries, they do crime, they pickpocket, they do everything. But it's different in South Africa is that when they've taken your money, they will stab you, not once, 20 times, and they'll kill you, and they'll maim you. This speaks to a society that is damaged, that needs internal healing. So, as I've said at the beginning, we can try as much as we can to address the issue of crime, but unless we go deeper to say, why are South Africans, why are we so violent? Why are we not at peace with ourselves? So theme number 7 focuses on that one, ladies and gentlemen. Theme number 8, promote local economy by supporting informal economy and entrepreneurship. So I've already alluded to this one. What will success look like? Quickly, impactful KZN civil society and active citizens holding each other and government accountable, which I think is very important. We are here so that we can be able to hold each other accountable and to work together. Secondly, KZN and eThekwini is peaceful, stable, and prosperous. Municipality and province respectively. Proactive interventions and early warning signs to prevent conflict and violence. Violent protests are replaced by constructive engagements. That's one of the outcomes of our intervention, agreeing also that it's going to be a collaborative effort and also a process that will require everyone to contribute. Reduction in crime and antisocial behavior. eThekwini ultimately is a livable, safe, and healthy city. In conclusion, we cannot, ladies and gentlemen, overemphasize the importance and urgency of implementing this social cohesion program. Suffice to say, it is thus far the only comprehensive, collaborative, action-oriented and outcomes-based social cohesion program in KZN, if not in South Africa. The operation brings together a myriad of experiences and skilled civil society organizations and individuals who wish to contribute towards the building of a cohesive, peaceful, democratic, and prosperous province. We are looking forward to mobilizing more resources as we bring the donor community and the corporate sector on board. We are greatly inspired by the commitment of eThekwini municipality to work with us in shaping a society of patriotic citizens, responsible communities, caring business sector, ethical leaders, and responsive government. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Siyabonga Mpumuza for that comprehensive update and also that incisive input that hopefully will shape and form the program from here on. At this point, I would like to acknowledge the presence of our city manager, Baba Thompson Bongomusa Mpele, Kodide siyakwamukela ba. For purposes of this gathering, he's still a brand new city manager. But for purposes of city development, unfortunately, he's not so brand new. He had to hit the ground running. And thank you for making time, Kodide, so that you could be able to share with us some of the issues that you would like a program of social cohesion to entail and be consisting of as you build or help build a better city of tomorrow. Sicela uze ngaphambili, Kodide, just to give us some of your insights into how, through social cohesion, we can build so coherent and resilient cities.
Program Director Babu Magaye Vici Nkomsengilele kuba mayimili yabhakela siyabonga. I want to say protocol is observed because I wouldn't even attempt to recognize each and every one of you here by name and by position, but I am acknowledging all of you. Hence, I say protocol is observed. I have been given 15 minutes to say something about building social cohesion through coordinated service delivery and catalytic projects. And I intend not to bore you with technical details of the good work that our men and women are doing out there, but rather to focus on critical points that will drive the message home. I intend to describe the situation first, because we may come up thinking that we all understand the situation that we're going through, but only to find that because it is so manipulated in the world of politics, we may end up with different angles of analyzing the same situation. And then from there, I will then go to the second part, which deals with what is our response as the city to a very complex situation, almost 3 decades into the post-apartheid South Africa and democracy, as it were. And what are the challenges that we are experiencing from the angle of building a capable state and social cohesion? I want to start off by painting a picture that will help you as you go home understand what is happening now, particularly in light of the massive media coverage that we are suddenly enjoying. In the age where everybody says the local government is declining, particularly the metros, but for one reason or the other, the only metro that is declining is the metro of eThekwini municipality on the eve of holidays. So I think that statement is critical for it to stick in your mind as we traverse this particular situation. First of all cities, even the most advanced cities in the world, have gone through a particular trajectory of development. Areas such as your inner city areas have gone through a period of decline, and over time, they have been recycled in terms of what is called brownfield development, redevelopment. Areas that were known as the Dockland yards, that were ignored, that were the crime haven, they now present some of the most expensive pieces of real estate ever if you go to some of the cities because due to crime, people have turned their backs against the water in terms of the bays and the ocean and so on as the suburbanization concept took effect. But over time, people have come back and said, we want to claim that particular space, and those areas have developed. The cities of the Global South, which indeed we are one, we are going through that particular phase. It started in the late 90s, early 2000, where we've begun to see that particular decline. Our decline was exacerbated by the fact that majority of our people were excluded from enjoying being part of the core of the city. So when they came back in large numbers and the city's infrastructure could not be able to cope, that's why most of our people are accommodated in the backyard rooms, are also accommodated in the informal settlements. But over time, even our buildings could not cope. As a result, majority of people in our buildings are accommodated in majority of our people are basically clustered like sardines in these buildings. This is the phase. It's not unique to us. But what it means is that it will take a little bit of time, but it also means that we must do our best within the confines of the resources that we have to ensure that we hasten that period of transformation so that we experience what other cities of the world are basically experiencing, particularly when the inner cities and the urban core are concerned. Part of these challenges have manifested themselves in the form of negative externalities such as homelessness. The statistics that we have at the moment reflect that nearly 4,000 people across eThekwini live on the streets. So that is your CBD, that is your Verulam, your Tongat, and all these places where people could find a place to sleep. Majority of our people live on the streets, under the bridges, on the highways, and what have you. That is the challenge that has been brought about by this phenomenon. Levels of crime has increased significantly. That is undoubtedly visible. We have one of the highest incidents of vandalism of public infrastructure. I'm glad that the government has finally taken a stance that they are going to ban the export of second-hand scrap metal, because that cost the economy about 47 billion rands. So all those things are really part of these negative externalities that we are facing. The illegal informal trade. The illegal informal trade often accompanied by violence. The illegal informal trade that has become a facility used by people who trade in drugs. We have seen videos on television where our honest people who are fending for themselves and their families have been used as the stopover for the continuous trade of drugs. Of course, you have the crime and grime, the filthiness of the city, which is the stuff that you experience across the board. The other factor that we need to take into consideration is that we are located on the eastern seaboard of the country. And those who have interfaced with the phenomenon of climate change, the scientists have predicted that the eastern seaboard of the country is likely to experience more of the natural disasters in the form of floods and what have you. We are going to have a much more wet eastern seaboard of the country and a much more drier hinterland, which will cause the drought that we are experiencing now in places like Kimberley and the Northern Cape. And here we are experiencing torrential rains, even in the heart of winter. So these are the problems that we basically have to contend with as the effect of climate change is gripping our country. We are therefore prone to these natural disasters. In the last 10 years, we've had no less than 4 natural disasters. I'm going to leave out COVID-19 for the time being. But in terms of the natural disasters that are unique only to this seat, are the challenges that we basically must be very much prepared that we are going to face. And the huge impact on infrastructure is clearly visible. The loss of money in billions of rands as a result of the infrastructure that has been washed away. And some people are saying the kind of disasters that we have experienced are basically the largest ever experience in recent memory, because that thing was bigger than 1987 floods. Some people are saying those floods were akin to even tsunami. So in 7 days, yet again, in 7 months, 8, 9 months, ladies and gentlemen, we are expected to function as efficiently as the cities, probably even far better than most of the cities in the developing world, according to the society that is communicating news to us. But the question is, what is it that we are doing and what is it that we have done as the city? What is our response to this? Even prior to the floods, I'm now on my second part of the presentation and I'm going towards conclusion because I've explained the situation that I wanted it to be imprinted in the minds of you here as we go through this. We decided a long time ago that for us to hasten the transformation so that we become like our partners in the global north, the cities, we came up with what we call Inner City Regeneration Master Plan, which was prepared in 2006. That master plan was meant to address all these problems that we are facing here. The problem of traffic congestion, the problem of crime, the problem of bad buildings, the problem of public facilities that are not activated, that are abandoned, that do not help to solve their role in terms of community development. The city focused on the inner city regeneration focused on ensuring that we put into practice the principles of urbanism, which is connectivity, walkability, ensuring that our green spaces are activated and they become part of city development. But that was the master plan and the strategy. The operational aspects of it had to be done in a particular way. So we've started implementing that, albeit on a slower pace because of resource constraints and what have you. But a number of developments that you have seen are in keeping with that particular plan. There is a precinct behind ICC. That side, you might have seen how it's called Rivertown, next to the old beer hall. You must have seen how we've paved around there. And we even had plans to ensure that we pedestrianize West Street, Prixligaseme, and other streets within that particular corridor to ensure that we allow the shops to trade without infringement from some of illegal traders. But because the economy is not creating jobs, we wanted to come up with a mechanism to identify spaces where we are going to take these informal traders and give them respectable spaces to trade from and ensure that businesses do come back to the city. But then we came up with what we call Operation Good Hope. Operation Good Hope was about saying we need to enhance service delivery, but as critical part of that, ensure that we bring along communities, we mobilize communities around the concept of civic pride. Because, ladies and gentlemen, our biggest problem is not only the fact that we are constrained in terms of resources. The biggest problem is that our people are making our city dead. I was nearly involved in a road rage when I was trying to warn someone. Uyabona nje mase ujika lapha soya ku Stapleton manihlala ngapha ngekase West usuya kule ndawo la okwenziwa khona ama bricks. Mawubamba nje lelikhona usanda kuchezuka ku M13 uthi akumaphepha alahla lapha ya. And lamaphepha awalahlwa abantu abahamba ngeenyawo. Uthi umuntu angadla iKFC nje ngoba zisuke zonke zifole kuyitraffic ngesikhathi zantambama ziya lapha ya. Athi umuntu angadla iKFC akhiphe ngewindi. Athi umuntu angaphuza leyo nto ayiphuzayo eyibhodlela lesiphuzo sakhe alahle ngewindi. Hayi bakwethu. Lamazwe ekuthiwa mahle lamazwe ekuthiwa aclean have not only been cleaned by the city governments. They've been cleaned by the ordinary residents of that city. Iwesi ke illegal dumping bakwethu. Futhi ke manje sengize ngacabanga ngathi ungasivimba yini umthetho masingase sithi umuntu esimthole enza illegal dumping ngoba siyababamba udampa ngevan ukuze uyodampa. Bese sithi nje cha ifine is going to be a minimum of 100,000. And then bese siyawuthatha lo 100,000 sufake kwisikweleli sakho sagesi namanzi. Kwenzela ukuthi bese siyokucishela ugesi. Ayikho into esizoyenza. Abantu bakithi sebephenduke engakaze ngiyazi this illegal dumping, and what they do now is they dump next to the highways. Highways are the entry and exit points of the visitors to this city. What do you expect the people who come to this city to see if you take your building residue and you dump it there? Kodwa ke angaze ngibe nesibibithwane bengizama ukuchaza ukuthi this is where most of our problems come from. This Operation Good Hope is meant to mobilize people about civic pride. Thanda indawo ohlala kuyo. When we grew up in the townships, we used to compete. Most of us have grew up in the townships. We used to compete about how isiphi istrato esiney'ngadi ezinhle kakhulu ukudlula esinye. Thina nje emlazi sasazi kahle ukuthi cha kaje ngakwasifiso lapha ezitolo kuhle ngokwamagceke. Because that was the civic pride that we had then. What happened to it? So this Operation Good Hope is meant to do that. Over and above that is to hasten service delivery by responding to the calls about service delivery matters that people raise immediately so that we are able to deal with the challenges that are abound. We then felt that we have 27,000 strong workforce in the city. And if you divide that by 110 wards, you realize that each ward can get a significant number of people in hundreds to work there. But of course, it's not everybody that is supposed to work on the ground. Some are clerks, some are so on. So we felt that how about ensuring that we divide ourselves into 7 service delivery zones to ensure that we do this Operation Good Hope there on a daily basis so that it doesn't become a once-off affair. That is how we conceptualize the coordinated service delivery to ensure that our people do get services. Of course, you have depots, some of the areas, for instance, Ward 99, Ward 1, these are some of the areas where you are not necessarily going to get a depot there, but we're going to cluster the wards into these zones and sometimes cluster the zones so that to depots to be able to service that particular cluster as a way of ensuring that we reach to the people on an ongoing basis. That process has already started, but of course, the results are taking longer to be realized. Some people have already commented that they've experienced those particular results as a result of how projects there that are joined. And there was a resounding commitment in looking at R1 billion worth of infrastructure. It revitalized Margaret Mngadi and there including Albert Park. It's big that are going to be undertaken as part of that sub projects there. One of the things that I could be showing you the pictures, but we will circulate to sync the railway line and the road so that you create high line straight from that it interfaces with water, and the developments are key across the world when you talk about a massive injection of capital. But Mayor, welcome. We had a meeting again of CEO of Transnet, where we agreed implementation plan that we drive that termed it Operation Guggenheim. What do we mean by that Operation Guggenheim? Because of time, though, I don't want to, but there are many of them. Just in the inner city, about 17 billion rands worth of catalytic project to be revealed. So the point I'm trying to is that while some people may want to project an image, a crumbling and a falling city, as I started off, I said the recent report has revealed that generally many cities are facing because of a number of reasons. Then they give reasons the case, but also global economic measure, the engines of economic growth, and held down, you are likely to experience impact on those cities. We understand that. We understand that. But what was 2 weeks, really, ladies and gentlemen, is an impression that has been given. All other cities are fine. That is crumbling, where the wheels of Etegui. I implore you now to go one of the television channels, mainline television channel, publishing how bad this city is, even identifying a single manhole, and basically generalize that, and the leadership is dishonest. They have the state of water and our readiness visitors. I believe probably somebody else. Because for that thing to run on long is an indication, and it is unfortunate because it's a campaign. People of this city, jobs is a campaign poverty that we are facing. We are not saying women, but we are not worse off. We are far better than some of the people who are called. I hope there is no speaking my mind. Right now, to mention him, it's in the media. Well, not it's in the social media. The media will not dare, because the intention is to take our visitors and put them there. I'm not off the seat. That city has sharks, problems of sewerage. We don't have a platform to be able to say we are. But in the last 2 weeks, concerted as an effort to show how dishonest we are, to show how dishonest our mayor is, that he has gone to come and swim in a field, sea, and what have you. This is giving. When we are rebuilding, everybody is expected, and the cities which never experienced it, we must all ask ourselves, in which, what cause are we pursuing when we are come to take a tailwind? By the way, some of them have even said that experienced a stomach bug because they drank. People died because they drank water that has stories were proven to be wrong. They realized that when they went on, they ran this thing every media at peak time every time. Is a city that works. We don't control what those guys do and what they are, but this city works. We know what we're doing, and we will do it best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kodite. It's a pity that we might not for in your busy schedule. It would have been interact with some of the issues you are, but I'm sure opportunity will present so that we could be able to have depth engagements around the issue raising and some that you have given. Thank you very much, sir. And just acknowledge the us of His Worship, Polisi Kaunda, our whilst he's waiting for the Minister, Police Ubaba, Honorable Pegicele. Let me ask Dr. Ndlovu give us his presentation on the role of culture to achieve better and improve vision. Kajeni, before us. Dr. Ndlovu is the Culture and Recreation Unit. And he will then be taking up his presentation. They'll be able to flight it and then be able to take us through Boyabenyat. To Bab Mayor, greetings to Bab Kele, the city manager, Bab Sompis, colleagues, and all our here. My name is Simpwe Ndlovu, and recreation. I'll be very brief so that I wouldn't waste time. Deal with just a few matters. There's the department fighting crime and building in our community using sports.
So PRS is sports and recreation, and that is under sports. So what we need to ensure that we develop sports and engage, participate in our sports activity. Realize that our youth spends in the streets, not participating in our sports activities. So, of sports and recreation is to ensure we develop sports. We've got from across the city. We are gathering our communities and young participate because we've realized that drugs and other activities are the sole problem. So therefore, through all we ensure that right, the communities to so just yeah. So youth and communities are all ills, namely the drugs, as I've said before. So therefore, we need to create those programs and recreation programs cut across of our person's life. It is critically important that at the early childhood, which seeks to introduce active life stage of our youth program, so achieve active and also competitive our youth. So we've realized that we need role now with through our which includes all ages. In a way, we invited all citizens to come and participate. So ensure that we support. We go back on games in our boards because we want to ensure that participator they live a healthy lifestyle. We also the agenda of bringing abantu who are participate in our all sporting activities. They are part and parcel of. So for sports and sustainable in our communities, foundations for our community who are just to interact a strong community, and also those organizations to play a very important to coordinate and oversee programs. So we work with our communities at want to leave our communities behind while we are strategies that can assist our protect and their children, but also we in terms of the vandalism of resources. Instead of our communities to play a role in sea ground, but those facilities are being vandalized. We receive a report that there was a burglary in our a very sad situation because probably will use it to get information, but other way, I'm like, they're stealing our computers. But what is our role as a municipality? Show those communities and participating in such kind of activities. So the department also community initiative program tool for department and to create awareness. So I said earlier on that we've got issues of drugs in our community, so we need to ensure we come now with strong programs. We want to in townships we've got netball, rugby, and all of that, but we'll come up with a strategy where we are bringing other organizations to engage Minatal Sharks to come, because we want to take sports as far as by doing so, we'll be inviting EU. Because to be told, when I grew up, I was active playing football. Going back to townships today, youth, what do they do? Do nothing. They start planning. Planning isn't. That is why it's easy for them to sit down and say, "Asambe so uzofika ufike incwadi lapha thatha ama laptop." The youth in the community will be affected. To bring them on board and with all the sporting activities, because the program here too, in our programs, all ones we've got, and then we are busy now trying to affect it during our floods. For instance, our ground is our swimming pool, be affected is all our and youth participate at that structure. We've got technical games that we've involved into tomorrow. Gumasalka games, where we've gathered all the sporting codes in Gumasalka game. We've got other programs that we are doing, youth camps, senior citizens, as I've said earlier, as we've listed them. So these are the pictures of activities that happens in our space. So with those programs, we want to say, we want to push and the participation of those programs in all the. So as a municipality, we are saying we want to in communities to participate. Maybe if rate of crime will drop, and PRC things will be very short. We've got which is an educate abantu. So as we want to contribute development and growth. So it is then important as a department. There's a successful economy inseparable form of national presence, resilient in communities, but using arts and museums. We've got we've got one that we've just opened, that was written by Inyosi in that heritage site. There's a lot of wealth of knowledge in our heritage sites that our youth can participate in. They can do their art, and then by see display, they can sell art. So we think through arts and other history, heritage, our youth can benefit a lot, because arts can also educate and heal and raise awareness. So it's important. Right now, as we've noticed, youth here too, I know history. They don't understand where do we come from, where are we going. So our history is very rich. Hence, we've got umlando khona wakaZulu nani. So through arts and culture, we believe that as a city we can also contribute and do a lot. Also, we've invited also other living legends to come and participate and bring information that we can use. So we promote a sense of community, a well-being into the unity and strength of our community to be a lead and a suitable livelihood. And you're achieving the above through collective activities that individuals embark on efforts that foster a sense of peaceful citizenship. We also enable communities to experience diverse culture. We teach youth with our programs on other cultural backgrounds, because we are a diverse society. So it's important that we do that. So we promote also culture through diversity within other pluralistic societies where all of those that live in it can call it a home. So we make sure Gucci through culture's activities, nobody's feel too outside. So we bring everybody on board. We want people to understand our culture Zulu, but also we want other communities us to understand their cultures. That's why we invite other communities to bring into Zabas. Either it's art, but also Nomasakama museums. The museum belongs to the community of Itegun, so therefore there must be different history in that museum. This is why we've got different museums around the city to also educate people. We feel good through those things. We can grab our society to focus in doing this and doing this right, because that's when our ideas okanga in particular to our youth. So therefore, because at the end of the day, we are saying as umkhandlu, we want to create a tolerant society and not undermine other cultures. But we can also achieve that through learning and sharing of information. We've got what we call Articulate Africa, which we launch. We always do every year. So last year or around May, we've done Articulate Africa, where it is a day where different authors, they bring their books, different books, different languages, and share. It is one of the best programs that we have as a city, because it's about literature and writing. So we encourage you to write your books, come and share with us. And as I've said, this is the best launch news. One of the things we are saying now is how possible it is good we can interpret research. Zulu, those who wants to write in other languages. So we Articulate Africa, which is hosted by us every year. We do that. We share books, and then bring different other authors to share in those up. So as I've said earlier on, which is the last part of the presentation, just all our heritage sites are opened, and we are making sure which in other wards we'll also be looking at the development of most of our heritage sites, so that we can ensure that our communities is developed through those museums and in other institutions to continue with the research. It's important to have these heritage sites, and because it gives us a sense of research. We've got a department under heritage, our focus on the research. They do a lot of research in terms of even other. They do research on plants, some of our diseases. I was saying earlier on, if you go to Mayville, driving that road to Mayville, to one of the heritage sites, Katomena, the way we own the dirt and the waste. And I was asking staff, one of my colleagues, how do we know this waste it creates as if it's easy for? What if, as a joke, what if COVID started here? Now, we are saying that our researchers should assist us and go and down as finally, what would that waste and all the problems, the leaks and what you see there create in a community? Would that be one of the reasons why we are facing this effect now today? So our researchers, they must begin to give us these papers and also encourage youth to participate in these programs. By research, we'll be able to know problems that could be created through imfucuza lekhona. It would be there. That is why we've got those scientists under UPRC. We're encouraging more scientists, young people, to come and participate, share with us their literature, share with us their research, and also go on the ground and do research for umkhandlu, because it's part and parcel of their work that they do at school. So that's what we do. And also, lastly, we will also look at focusing which museum which are contributed to the board economic, the new medicine, as I've said, health, beauty products, horticultural products, new crops, because we've got some botanic gardens, where we want to bring new crops based on research lab. Our ecosystem as well, natural environment, to provide e-services that are essential for supporting e-life and many other economic activities, e.g. the pollution, the pollution of crops, soil fertility, water purification, carbon storage, and waste decomposition. So zonke lezo zinto lezo will assist us as umkhandlu to do research, as I've said earlier on, dive deeper into those things so that at the end of the day, we will ensure that our environment is sustainable. But we need to do those things senze sure ukuthi we bring youth participate ingagcwali wonke umgaqo la and end up doing izinto ezirong. And just to finish up in terms of research, this is what we have done, which you'll find in some of our storage. This is the team busy sitting there doing research, as I've said earlier on, looking at the plants. And then this is some of the labs that we are using to test certain plants and some of the things that we find to conduct those studies and see what we can do. We want to encourage through our universities also to assist us as my interns participate, because as long as we bring youth out of our streets participate to such programs, and nalabo abasobe phuma esikoleni siba invite sibanikeze mhlambe those opportunities ama internships, it will help also the city to reduce unemployment and to reduce the crime rate and all of those things. These are some of the programs that we want to embark on going forward. I would just like to share the few last pictures of some of the things that John Wan Boni la present students. We've got all bed parks and zoo, where we invite them to come and see and continue to get involved in our environment. It's just those pictures and some of the drawings in terms of the arts that I've spoken about earlier on. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you to our head of Parks, Culture and Recreation, Dr. Ndlovu. Siyabonga Boya Benyathi. The presentations that we have just witnessed, the three of them, will be available as resource materials in the group sessions that we'll be having after lunch. And they hopefully will provide a fair amount of base information that we can be able to use to deliberate upon. Without further ado, let me acknowledge the presence of Uzalo, Uputom Dala, who also has a very important responsibility in our country as the Minister of Police, Siyagamukela Makai. Bese ngicela ubaba uMeya his worship ukuthi azosinikeza amagama ambalwa, and then emva kwakhe uyesosale esathulela ubaba uCele, who will then come forward without me having to come to the podium. Mbimbi.
Khona le ngoma engiqale ngayo izolo ngesaba kuyicula khona uminister. Ngiyasaba kuyicula khona uminister ngoba uminister uzobe se-interpreta ngendlela yomsebenzi wakhe. Mase ngiyiculile. Mase phuma lapha ethi ayakuphunywe nayo ukhawunda sayo sengihamba naye. Thank you very much, Program Director. Our apologies for arriving late with the minister. We were at Inanda, Etafleni, to open a new police station there. So, a new police station. It is a satellite police station, but which will be resourced so that it can respond to the issues of crime in that area. Honorable Minister of Police in the Republic of South Africa, Babu Magai, General Begicele, sibingelele kumakhansela zakhona phakathi kwethu. Sibingelele futhi ku city manager ohola ithimba likamasipala, onke ama-officials kamasipala. Sibingelele ku-Major General Matonzi esisebenza naye lapha ku-Safer Cities, ohola nethimba lamaphoyisa elikhona phakathi kwethu. Iy'nhlaka zomphakathi zonke ey'lwisana nobugebengu. Umama uMbongwa osebenza lapha kwa-Community Safety and Liaison odeploywe o-asayinwe ngoba kadeploywe yena o-asayinwe ukuthi azobheka thina njengetheku. Sibingelele ubaba Madlala nethimba lakhe kodwa futhi ophinde aphathe ze-tourism lapha kwaZulu Natal, uhlalo weboard ye-tourism. Sibingelele bonke abaholi bamabandla beholwa ubaba uMbhishobhi uMbuyazi. Honorable Minister, ubaba uMbuyazi cha phela kufanele ngichaze ubaba uMbuyazi. Omunye abantu esathola kanzima naye ngalezi ayikhathi kuthiwa ubhekwa abantu bokuhamba. Wacishwa ngelankulu inkinga ngoba umbheka kahle unaso isiqu sangale eNigeria. Hayi wasinda kodwa nami ngasinda e-15 ngoba yasukuma insizwa yathi lapha e-15 engathi likhona elinye la. Esho lelagama ke singalisebenzisi. Kodwa eshebuka mina emehlweni. Ngabona ukuthi mangizophuza ukuphendula ngesizulu sami esiqinile isagila ngasisikhala ekhaya. Ngasheshe ngaphendula ukuthi hayi akekho munye la yithi la sikhona la. Kade zasithola kanzima. Thank you very much colleagues, bingelele bonke abakhona, the academia, business, all protocol observed. I'm going to just highlight few issues before I introduce the minister, who doesn't need introduction because he's the son of the soil. You know him. In the province, you know him nationally. But I must also emphasize on the points that the city manager, when I arrived here, he was deliberating on the interventions we intend doing to turn around the fortunes of this city. I am aware that I'm called the useless mayor ever seen in this city, and I accept it. But I want to challenge those who are saying that they must give me a year. They will change the story. They'll be telling a good story about this city. For now, I accept there are challenges, but we said to the city manager, we are going to support you. We want turnarounds to happen now. And he has already started to do that. And we'll see a big change about this city. Hence, even yesterday, in your absence, Babu Mpele, I said we must fire people who do not want to work. Because this city is like this because there are people who get paid every month, but they are not doing the job that they are expected to do. And if we fail to fire them, we are not going to be able to change this beautiful city. We must fire them. When you fire them as a city manager, they come this side, they come to me as a mayor to try and seek for my protection because we attend NGO eyodwa. I'll be the first one to say, go back there. That man is the right man, is taking the right decisions. Because when people are not prepared to work, this man is Now, when you don't do that, ship out. I'm sure you call in the Toyazi generally. Ebi lapha eThekwini, thatha early retirement. Kodwa ayithathanga ngokuthanda kwayo. Ukuhleka lo. Ikhona lesiphethe uSCM. Akazi azohamba izinto zakho ukuthi kuzophuma ama-result kuyona. Kodwa into ehle kusithimele ukuthi le executive committee olwazi ukuthatha ama-decisions. Then siba no SCM ongafuni ukutransform SCM esengathi wona reverse development. SCM is not designated to delay development, but it is designated to ensure that we enhance the service delivery. So when people are not prepared to work, ningamsoli lo city manager, and I want to declare it openly here. He's got our protection politically in what he will be doing. Kodwa futhi sizobe sibhekile nathi. Basombeka ngathi lapha mbele ngathi engathi khona ke nakubanga lo senjalo lokho akusiko ukuthi uzamla akwenziwa kanjalo kuhulumeni. So within the program they started to rejuvenate the inner city, the secondary town in the city. It's going to give positive results. But we're not going to see things now symptoms as they start showing up. So thank you very much. Rest assured, leadership support you. Hotspots. So that's why the minister says it is time to be with us from early in the morning, 8 o'clock up until now. He is with us to try and find solutions. zone. We are pleased with the contribution the private sector is making, not only to protect their assets, but also to secure investments in the city, which is key in addressing the triple threat of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. Honorable Minister, we must state that we are confident that this satellite police station in Etaflane will contribute towards reducing the high levels of crime in Inanda. We all know that Inanda always features in the top 5 of police stations in the country that are contributing to murder and sexual offenses. This satellite police station will be followed by another satellite police station, which will be opening on Friday, which is located in this precinct, in the ICC, because we also have hot spots around this complex. So therefore, we need to respond to that and also save lives of people, because people, they travel from this side of the public transport to the other side for employment and come back to take public transport. So we need to guarantee their safety when they travel around this area. As the leadership of the city, we remain committed to change this picture and bring hope to communities that live in constant fear of criminals. Asikwazi-ke bakwethu to co-govern with criminals, to co-live and coexist with criminals. We must open up a space for us to have a fresh air where people, they will feel safe whenever they are around the city, whenever they are around their residential areas and townships in deep rural areas of this municipality. However, I want to plead with all sectors of the community to work with the law enforcement agencies and report criminal activities where they see them. Therefore, we have no doubt that this intervention will have a positive impact in a broader crime prevention strategies. Other services that will be offered by these satellite police stations include certifying of documents so that we offload, Honorable Minister, the issue of affidavit lapha ku Broad Street. Broad Street mawufika la police station ulayini obamkhulu kakhulu ama affidavit mase uthi ke amaphoyisa azolwa kanjani ne crime if kuukuthi wonke umuntu uya lapha uyokwenza affidavit hayi ngoba uyo report case abhekene nayo yobugebengu. Hence we also encourage councillors, because as councillors we are also commissioners of oath. Abanye baba priest bangama commissioners of oath. Let us take all these responsibility of affidavits to be put there to us so that we allow police to do their work. Asibanikeze nje bafundisi certify bengalokho anibeyogcwala ema police station beyofuna ama affidavit. Nomunye nje uyofuna affidavit encane nje hayi manje ngiyobheka imbiza ngapha ngaphesheya komhlaba uyalingana ngicela ukwenza affidavit ukuthi mase ngibuya nayo kungashiya ukuthi mhlawumbe umuntu okuthakatha kubona ukuthi hayi imbiza. So amaphoyisa akwazi ukulitshalisa by such things. Issuing of affidavits will then be lowered down if we do that. Incident reports is what the police should be dealing with. Police patrols for crime prevention and responding to community complaints. That's the core of the police to secure our communities. Ladies and gentlemen, when I opened this summit yesterday, I emphasized the importance of using this summit to strengthen efforts to build more inclusive, caring, humane, and proud city. In addition, through this summit, we want to develop a set of shared values that define who we are as a people of eThekwini and what kind of society we seek to build. I also mentioned, Honorable Minister, yesterday, that if we were xenophobic and Afrophobic as South Africans, ngaba nayo umeya okhawunda ome phambi kwenu. So it's attest to the fact that South Africans are not xenophobic, are not Afrophobic. It's just criminals who take the opportunity that they identify, who are opportunistic, then they start killing people because whether they are fighting over a particular territory, in selling drugs or whatsoever that is being sold or whatever that business that is being run, then they want to hide behind the act that they are doing that because we as South Africans, we are xenophobic. Ingakho nami ngibuye ngixakeke mase nibuye nifuna ukungikhumbuza. Khona babe bengingabaza bethi lo meya ukhawunda wakuphi. Mase ngaxakeka ukuthi lo musho ukuthi akayenwa la South Africa ngoba awakwazi ukuquestiona my citizenship. Ngoba my citizenship ngizalelwe la. Njoni ngibona nje. Ngizalelwe la impela. Ngakhula la, ngafunda la, ngazabalaza la. Angibanga uqhimkhowe nje. Oqhamuke sengena kwe leadership sethi we ake simcabangeleni. Noma ngathi unemali uzofaka imali mase yakhethwa ke be leader. Cha ngikhetha uba leader bangihlezi khona la ngizabalaze khona la. Manje ngiyacela ke ningalokho en question ama citizenship yami. Ibala lona impela liyabonakala. Liyayiveza nje ukuthi alidingi ukubuzwa ngibingelele nangesingisi mangena ezitolo ngithi hololo. Angibikela nangesizulu akusheshe kubonakala ukuthi hayi lo mfo isizulu singase simdidi. So sizoqinisekisa ke ukuthi umphakathi waseThekwini uyahlanganiswa ukuqinisekisa ukuthi silisana naso sonke isihlava esizivezayo ngoba thina sibona abantu ababulala abanye abantu, sibona abantu abashaya abanye abantu, futhi siya understand ukuthi iAfrica iyonke sonke sivele eCentral Africa. Ngakho asikwazi ukuquestion umuntu ovele eAfrica ukuthi yena ungubani, singamquestion kodwa ovele eItaly size sincome noma sesingene ebhizinisini lakhe sithi singena kwi-Italian restaurant. Akasimbizi ngeforeigner yena. Sinje singena kwi-Italian restaurant. Mase kuthi lowa la eAfrica la ekhaya mase eba foreigner. So it can't be correct. So we need to work on those issues. But also, in the same vein, Honorable Minister, we were with you at the point. You see, colleagues, when you are in the country, with whatever permit that you hold, whether it's a study visa, asylum seekers, economic visa, so it doesn't give you the right to occupy the streets and open your own territory, where South Africans can't even walk freely in that street because you have occupied the street. Just include yourself, integrate yourself in the community. But don't say this is our terrain, you can't touch us here. Let's work together because we all belong to this Africa. Kodwa mose uqala ukuthi uyi-isolate society, then you say, la yethu le thina njengama-Nigerians thina esi-occupy la. Then you'll start to have problems. So let's work together. Let's embrace one another. But let's also fight crime together. Crime has got no eyes. Whether uvele Africa, uvele Italy, uvele China, if you are in or uvele South Africa, let's deal with you as such, as a criminal. So, as I learned, Honorable Minister, I said yesterday, I want to repeat this. They are good police officers. Out of 10, people, they always attack me in Bizwe, in Mangisholen. Mangit, out of 10, babela bakhohlakele. Majwa, oh, amanga lawo. Cha, iqiniso le percentage phela la. I-percentage ithi laba bawu-8 abenza kahle umsebenzi abathembekile abaloyal kwi-system. Imisebenzi yabemihle imbozwa yilo 2 ongcolile. Lo 2 odayisa ama-drugs, lo 2 oprotect ama-drug lords, lo 2 lo ohamba uyotshena ama-drug lords makune-operation ukuthi wakhipheni ngama-wind ama-drugs. Ibona abantu efanele sidile nabo-ke la. Lower 8 asu-embrace, siu-supporte because they are doing the good job. Ngoba mase sithi bonke bangcolile, we are discouraging them. Nobe sebenza with that loyalty, loyal kwi-system. Uzothi hayi kusizane ngoba sonke kumane kuthiwa nje ayisiyafana. Ake singayenzi leyo nto ngoba ngeke umuntu ngoba ese-Anglican Church nguthi ubonakale nje egqoka uniform yakho ephuza ubhiya. Mase the ama-Anglicans wonke aphuza ubhiya. So asimqonde sichananga uphuza ubhiya akawuphi ugcwele uniform akabelongi e-Anglican Church. Nala emaphoyiseni amaphoyisa abhace ngale uniform yakho minister. Awaphume emaphoyiseni iboshwa lezi igebengu lezo. So we are pleased that in our midst we have an interesting lineup of speakers that you have already listened to, who will be able to share their views. Some have already shared their views since yesterday on how we can enhance social cohesion and nation building in the city. They will also dissect the role of sports, arts and culture in building a united and resilient communities. Our first democratic president, Dr. Nelson Mandela, summed up the importance of sports in nation building by saying, and I quote, "Sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does." I close quote. We are hopeful that after these deliberations, we'll be inspired to play our part individually and collectively to work towards building a safe and inclusive communities for the benefit of our future generations. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Ngizocela sonke siphakame samukele uMinister wamaphoyisa umphathiswa uGeneral ubaba uBhekicele oyimember ye-National Executive Committee ANC umholi esimaziyo olidile kwaZulu Natal nakuleli Theku esikulona njengosihlalo weregion waphinde futhi waba u-MEC wakwa Transport Committee Safety and Liaison namanje uphathisa umsebenzi obalekile eNingizimu Afrika wokuhola amaphoyisa General siyakwemukela siyabonga.
Ubani uthe hlalani phansi? Laba abahleli phansi ubani othe abahlali? Kuthi angithi bonke laba abamile abahlali phansi lo yedwa ohleli phansi kuthi akasukume. Oh sesukumile la. Let's sit down. Thanks, Mayor. Bob Kaunda, your managers, and Bobana. Congratulations, Babumpe. At least, take us into the trial and put your gate. Okay. And those, at least, put your gate and your manager. Total commit. Land the next time, my report. Okay. This is only to good one, everybody that is here. Good morning. Thanks for the invite. I would have loved to have stayed the whole day and listen and hear the direction of the inputs. I saw quite eminent people like Bishop Phillips. They've made inputs here. I would have loved to listen because, but Mayor, we get a lot of direction from these interactions with the communities. A lot of direction. A lot of things that we implement, that we take from them. So they're not just waste of time. Crime. But there is just one thing I want to pass. You spoke about supply chain management. Ngizwile kuthiwa khona leni yakhona kuthiwa iseNazarek. Mase nifike khona. Some of these rules and laws, change them from there. Supply chain management is not for your problem. It's a problem for the country. Supply chain management is a problem for the country. So many things that people they stand there insult you when you have long taken decision about it. Bese bayakutshela bathi kuno bid committee kunobani ithi sizolunguza ngazo bid committee nobani committee of which abayiphindise safa supply chain. You see, I don't have an office count as a Ministry of Police. I don't have an office. We have bought an office. You have spent only 2 billion rand, but I can't get in it. Linama lift out 10. The office number for the 25th floor. Angasebenzi wonke zonke insuku bathi mina nge 25th floor. Ngiye lapho mina. Uyabuza i-supply chain. Eyamaphoyisa, public works, health. Supply chain management needs a lot of revamp and changing. It does hold us back. Ngifuna ukudlula njengoba ngizukhala ngeTheku. Le akuyona yakho wethu. eThekwini, sanibona eThekwini. eThekwini eDurban. There were times when the holidays were when holidays were coming. There will be just one language of South Africa, siyeThekwini. That language is gone, Kaunda. That language is gone, managers. That language has changed to be Cape Town. There were times when zonke indlela without fail zasibheka eThekwini makushaya ukhisimusi. Wahlangana nomuntu eGoli athi wena sengiyokubona eThekwini ngoDisemba. You must be worried, manager. You must be worried. You must sit down and look back and say to yourself, there was a song here. Pakshan, 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 siyetepe. Pakshan, 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 siyeThekwini. Professor, things, you need just to get and mobilize everybody to come back and say, Durban, especially the national tourism. Everybody must come back to Durban. So we do need to put a lot of effort. One thing that you'll have to do, I said, that beach, I went to buy some food last night. For some reason, I love Asian food. So there is a restaurant they call Simply Asia. I went to buy this guy. People, they walk past his restaurant. And he says business is a little bit down. It gives two reasons. It's weather, which has become very hostile to us. Nothing we can do about it. But also the beaches. He raised the issue. I said, but the beaches are beginning to work. I said, no. I must tell you that the beaches must be certainty. That's what he said to me. Don't make things to be debatable so that people, the simple decision to say siyeThekwini. Now, people say they are going to Cape Town. There are 3 provinces in South Africa that give you sleepless nights when it comes to crime. There are 3. Gauteng, KZN, and Western Cape. There is one that comes in and out, Eastern Cape, but comes in and out, in and out. But these provinces are not provinces per se, are cities. In this province is the city of eThekwini. And in Cape Town is the city of Cape Town. In Johannesburg, several cities, 3 or 4 of them. But eThekwini is not the whole city, are the areas. And there are basically 3 areas that give us sleepless night. Inanda, Nomlas. And then, now and again, the central city. So that's why when you go to the common crime, Durban Central leads. When you go to rapes, if it is not Umlazi, it's Inanda. When you go to murders, if it is not Umlazi, but Zoe 2, as Funuk Suga 1 and 2, when it comes to rape and murder, Umlazi, Nenanda, as Funuk Suga. But that does not mean that other cities are completely crime-free. Western Cape is one area where they come in and out, especially in the question of murder. When you go to places called Delft, when you go to places Khayelitsha and Old Gwalanga, Nyanga. But those are not things that make people don't want to visit eThekwini. I'm not decampaigning in Cape Town. I'm reclaiming eThekwini. So find other things that make people go originally where they were. You are the city that is 1.5 or 2 hours away from mountains. We are the city that is 1.5 or 2 in one of the biggest game reserves to do. So it's up to me to change what do I want to do. But what is a problem? The problem is the history and the name that all of us we have given this province. The worst of it is crime. By the way, this is the only province and the city that has got a special political killing unit in the police. The only one where we have a special unit in the political killing. Because when you see councillors here, niboni nyamazana. There is no province that kills councillors like this one. There is no province that kills political activists like this one. There was a time when, I don't know, youth league, every week they were killing a youth league leader. It's when they killed Nemarisbeck, and the president went there and came back and said, enough is enough. Your security cluster, go to KZN and stop that nonsense. It's happening, but I'm telling you the rate is so. We have arrested 302. You have been sitting in this committee. We have arrested 302 people for killing of politicians here in this province. 302. 55 of them have been sentenced. More than 40 of them are doing life. But it's not only that problem. All these people that they kill people in Nkabi, every Nkabi is owned. Ayikho Nkabi emahala. And who owns this Nkabi nina? You see, there is a new phenomenon against Kaunda. There was a time when there were no arrests at all in this province. A long list of dead people and a zero list of arrests. At least now it's beginning to balance. But we have a new phenomenon now. Last time I checked, we had 82 withdrawals on the cases, including murder. 82 withdrawals. You know, Baba withdraw, second layer are the owners. I'm an owner. Inkabi. Lulu deal an Nkabi because you buy another one tomorrow. But you go next, those they penetrate the system. The next layer. We're working on that. But you have created that image of this province that will have to rework on it to say, that is Abantu Snoma. Not only that, last week, we arrested people that were raiding EOR Tambo. Abangena ngevan by Brenda, kahle van by Brenda, bangena go Kalpoti, ba driver bangena faka zonke into zase airport, ababa abantu bakwa AXA bangena. Babe uthatha a 20 million stock, some cellular, all those kind of things. Without fail, without a single fail, all those groups have people from KZN. Without fail. Mangibuza kuthiwa bavela kuthiwa bavela Natal, eZim, nase Eastern Cape. Now, there is a new phenomenon now. Yabavele eZim, bavele Bulawayo. Not just Zim. And those are Zulus, those Bulawayos. Those Bulawayos are Zulus. So I visited Rosettville where there was a shooting. 12 of them were arrested Belele Pants. Ngiyababuza, uvela lapho wena? Ngivele Lady Smith ezakhini. Wena uvela laphi? Ngivele eNkandla. Wena eBergville, wena eBulawayo. 6 of them were from Bulawayo, 6 of them were from KZN. There is that most popular case, well known, of the girl that was killed. Who's she? Dekan, who's that girl? Health, the whistleblower, Gauteng. Yeah, who was killed. 6 people are arrested. All are from this province. All of them, 6 of them. 6 of the amadoda akhulile asuka la yodubula intombazane endiye egoli. Eyala nayo. Bayibuyele egoli. So there is this image that we have created. The third issue that we'll have to work on, which is national but also anchored here, is the question of public transport and taxi industry. You are notorious out there. KZN is notorious about the violence of public transport and the taxi industry. Abantu bayesaba ukuzala. Thina salihamba izwe. Bethe kumnandi kwaZulu kodwa agcine lapha aqhubeka. So those are the things that we'll have to work on. But coming down to crime, I agree with you, with the police. By the way, we have discovered one thing about these complaints, police. Criminals have infiltrated communities to fight the police on their behalf. You find a good police and everybody are marching against. Babhatelwe laba abamashayo, babhatelwe zigebengu kuzomasha against the police. We've discovered that. There is a guy in Western Cape called Ubara. He comes from Tsofimvaba. He's 30 years old. He's a teacher by profession. He owns 8 taxis. He's got 19 dead bodies. He's charged for 19 dead bodies. He runs extortion gangs. He's involved with the cash heist in Eastern Cape, Umtata, and all that. So when he was arrested, we found him in one of the poshest suburbs of Cape Town. He was sleeping in between 2 young, beautiful girls, Lele Pagat. Samtata ngo 12. Samtata ngo 2 minutes to 12. Sambaba ne-anda. Lele kahle nje, kamnandi. Wacela ukugqoka, sathi uyogqoka phambili. The next day, there was a march against Ucel. There was a march against Ucel. Therefore, all of us who work on crime don't allow space between the structures and communities. That structure is occupied by criminals once you allow it. Yeah. Stay close. I don't care who says what. I don't care how many police you can have. If communities are not with us, we are not going to win this war. It's one area, as if you look, for last 2 sonas as president, he's calling on us to create better relationships with the communities. So stick to that. But even Professor Sindi, after July things of KZN and Gauteng, they found that there was a big gap between communities and the law enforcement agencies. All of us, you go and close that gap. So this thing, Yama CPFs, Mamumbongo, my neighborhood watch, we are rethinking it. How do we resource it? Actually, we have commissioned to Faith from Gauteng to work on how do we work with them, to have some form of resources to work rather than allow them to volunteer freely and all that. We are working on it. Ningasho ukuthi ngithe. Ningasho ngishaya izandla ngoba nathi ngizokhokha angishongo. We are working, we are trying to find the way of putting some incentives on those things going forward. Because communities must play the role, a big role in fighting crime. But do you know who is supposed to play even a bigger role on fighting crime? Our families. are families. If families don't play that role, they're not going to win. There is not a single criminal that comes with rain. Not one. Every criminal comes from your own houses. Every criminal is a brother, is a sister, is a father, is a mother, is a husband, is a wife. Mostly are husbands and brothers and fathers. But what's your role of a lady in the house? Yabona lezi gebengu. Yabona isigebengu sifike siqamule phezulu kwesibhamu. Bese umkasi aqamula phezulu kwesigebengu, isigebengu siqamule phezulu kwesibhamu. Isibhamu, isigebengu, umfazi waso. And you are not going to tell me that you don't know that there is an illegal firearm under that mattress. They're not. Because extend you make this bed and you are born on this palm. Maybe Kawunda, the next campaign we need to run. Everybody bring his gebeng sako. That's a campaign we need to run. That's the next campaign. Everybody bring your thag. Because I always make a call according to the Maziki Kebeng. But everybody here knows this Kebeng Sangagubo. Esagubo, Nesake, Akamelakson, Skebeng. I Saguba, Kamelakson. So families must broaden their contribution in crime fighting. How does it happen that a Kailisha will arrest a 46-year-old man, Kawund, that has raped his own child? This child is 6 years old, and he has raped this child for 4 years. Where is the damn family there? You want to tell me that you are really a mother of this child and you can't see Uguti for 4 years something silly is happening with her? Or you're begging for your plate? Huh? And you're making a call, fire crime, fire. Come back and sleep with the crime in the morning, we'll come and fire the crime. Because the quota that we have released at my crime states, in 3 months, 10,500 women were raped in South Africa in 3 months. 62% of them were raped in their own houses. 62% were raped, which means out of 100 women raped, 62 of them are raped by their brothers, fathers, grandfathers, stepfathers. Ama-stepfathers abhokile-ke wembongo. Afika la ebona umama esefika ku-fresh kakhulu endlini. Ama-stepfather abhokile. But what is worse, which does not need the police, the court, and the court, is when siblings rape siblings. When your own sister is raped by the brother who comes after you, one sisu and one e, and is your real brother from one mother, one father, but we get more and more cases of the siblings rapes. Do you really believe that thing needs some police? It needs a special intervention. It needs this social cohesion you're talking about. It needs abefundis batandas. But abefundis ba papatandazayo nabo badinga ukuthandazelwa before batandaze. Mfundisi, anithandazeleni abefundisi before batandaze. Khona abefundisi ekuthiwa opapa. Papa, I receive. uyabona mhla umkakho nentombi yakho yathi papa I receive inkinga ureceiveani akabuye esontweni athi papa I receive inkinga. And I've heard those people from Bushiri Church, Papa, I receive. I've heard them from Otomozo Church, Papa, I receive. I've heard them from Lukau Church, Papa, I receive. Receive what? From Papa. Uphu Papa akwambu Papa zisa nje. Where's your Papa? We are in the problem of generic crime across ourselves. At the present moment, we've got 11 pastors in the country of interest. 11. About 11 abefundisi esibabheke ngehlolo lokhozi la kule country. Babefundisi. Abanye babo banama private jet. Asikhali umfundisi la. Nothing but money, cleaning, money laundering, money collection, and everything. Futhi anginazi, you know, khona elinye isonto angizolisho ngegama egoli. Every envelope kaJanuary, umfundisi uyithatha yonke ivulwa umfundisi. Everybody transfer, and I would abantu nje, the real top socialites and top elite of South Africa. When comes January, beyinika and upapa abesethi, God will give you, you will receive for a year. Ngeke ngibone isalary kaJanuary, January. Can you imagine isalary by January uthi wonke umuntu usuke eselindile uthatha yona kupapa. Ayithatha ngekho la eyithatha visually eyithatha selagos ezala zinike zifake zihambe mayiphuma esontweni la kumashonisa. Please, South Africans, I agree with you. We're giving too much leeway to be robbed and us complain. But I think there's in Zimbabwe that we need to fix Kaundu. I can't go to Botshabelo. In Botshabelo, there are 600 spaza shops, not a single one owned by South African. I mean one. 600. I mean one. I go to Orange Farm. There are 251 spaza shops, not a single one. I mean one owned by South Africans. Our laws will have to begin to protect South Africans. Maybe, I don't know whether it's city, whether it's LED, whether it's economics, to say, at least if there are opportunities for spaza shops, this number and no further. You can't. You can't. All shops in the townships are for my friends. No. And you rate these shops this is now a point. When we rated that shop a point. As you come in, it smells. It smells. You are almost coming up. We are dance among them. Our people must be protected because they are victims of crime and they respond as such. If you treat me badly, I'll respond badly. There are South Africans that are treated very badly. But if we don't fix these ones in Kalapans, of employment, forget it. Forget it. That is for all of us. That South Africans, especially young South Africans, must find jobs. Bazothi why uhulumeni asho njalo angena uhulumeni ngingcinga kahulumeni uhulumeni amakhansela umbhele unomusa nama MSCs uRamaphosa nama minister ne manager na wonke umuntu oqashiwe abantu they must stop creating facilities and opportunities for themselves, create broader for the nation, especially young people. You can't, as this December, we are releasing 10,000 police from our colleges. We made the call for application. 500,000 matriculants that are unemployed applied. 500,000. We need yet only 10,000. Where is the rest? Where is the rest? We wanted 57,000. We wanted graduates, BScs and forensics, to put them in our laboratories. 57,000 of graduates, unemployed, applied. Graduates. We wanted 200 BScs. Where's the rest? Remember, now they can think. We are pushing them to use their thinking capacity for negative things. And you come back and you complain. If it is not positive, it is negative. If it is not positive, it is negative. It doesn't mean that if they're not working and educated, they're stupid. They will think, but they will think otherwise. So this issue of employment, if we are not dealing with it, I was very glad that the previous period we created 60 jobs. That's why the statistician in South Africa said. Last week, they said we created 200,000. But it's a drop of the ocean. In March, we're taking a new intake of police. 750,000 has already applied. Almost 1 million has already applied. Now, we're going to be very much infamous as the police because half of those people now are graduates. So I am a matric, graduates. I would have loved to listen because I want us not, while we zoom in crime, but work harder on the things that contribute towards crime. Let's zoom in on crime, but let's work around it. What push people to crime and to be criminals? So that is going to be important going forward in life. But next time, I don't know who was here, Kawund. One thing that you need to stop as you deal with crime, stop calling the police. Call the cluster, Kawund. Stop the police. I don't know who was invited here. Ngibona mina ngedwa. Angiboni Minister of Justice, angiboni Correctional Service, angiboni Home Affairs. Those are the people, you call all of us. As the police, we take too much flag for other departments. A lot. One of that big flag we take for other departments, he paid. We take a lot of flag for a bail. And now my police say we don't give bail. I went to Harding last week. Monday, I was in Harding. Harding has become a mini hell. It's a hell, Harding. It's a small town that is a hell. It's a Schokwe in Harding. It's a Harding. I used to organize there when I was a Southern Natal organizer. I would walk in the middle of the night. It says Schokwe. When women tell stories there, you say Banamanga. Horror stories. This aunt says, I was in a taxi. It was me, my 3 children, and my husband. I had to watch who dies first. I had to put the clothes to that one who dies first. Is it 20-year-old? Is it 11? Or is their father? I had to watch who dies first, and finally they all died. That's a story you hear then. 154 people are arrested. 104 of them are on bail. 7 for murder. How do you give 7 people bail for murder? 54 attempted murder, 20 for rape. So don't call us alone here. Call the chain. All of us must come and answer, because this chain really runs over us as the police. Angiwakhulumeli because ngisebenza nawo. That's big 4-year-old engcwatshwe 2 weeks ago, yaseBenoni. I forget her first name, but uPhuwa isibongo sayo. That 4-year-old. Rape. Disembowed, ungcwatshwe ngaphandle kwengalo, we couldn't find ingalo, we couldn't find indlebe, we couldn't find anything. Killed by a person who's on bail for raping a 9-year-old. How do you give a bail to somebody who rapes a 9-year-old? How does it happen? How does it happen? So I'm just putting there so that when we say these things, we say to the chain, we say to all of us. Because one thing that has become a big problem is a parole. I was asking, does the IO have a benefit of understanding when a person that you send in prison is released? Find that IOs don't know. Investigating officers don't know that that person has been released. Does the community agree? You see, I understood the thing that was sent by Timpoan, saying to us, to the law, we don't exist. Everybody has been asked if this Walus must be released, except us as a family. So she says, nobody comes to me. Do we have structures of community that are told and prepared that this criminal yaqeda abantu la elokishini yabuya? Osihlangana nayo futhi isiqalile futhi, because they don't stop. I'm told they are. I haven't seen them stopping. So it will be important to do that. 2 last points. This point has been raised many times. Social development is a corner of crime eradication. Social development is a cornerstone of criminal or crime eradication. We need to take these kids at school. We need to have sessions, tell the kids while they're at school what is to be a good citizen. And that's not the work of the police only. So it's going to be important that we put those things. But besides work and all that, social conditions of our citizens must improve. If you live like a pig, they are not going to expect me to behave like a white dove. If we push our people to desperation, if we put people where there are no houses, when we put people where they live without water, where we push people where they live without, there is just imagine in your house when there is no water, you're supposed to go to toilet. And imagine a person that never has water with toilet. The wife, the girl child, small things. This person tells her, where I was, but was telling of this young girl when she goes for period to sebenzisa ubulongwe. She used a cow dow as a son, as a pet. And you expect that person to behave and love life. That is an extreme. And you can't expect that person to behave normal. Finally, I told when she go for periods. we must begin to be at the area where we do the best to deal with extreme conditions. That includes fighting corruption. You know, abantu bakahulumeni banikwa imali yokwenza umsebenzi. Abantshontshe ushintshi. Bantshontshe imali bathatha ushintshi benze ngawo umsebenzi. They don't steal change. They steal the money. And this province, to bahlala phansi bayabe. Not this one. It's another province. To bahlala phansi bayabe. To makuthiwa mhlambe is a billion kuthiwa cha sesiu-allocate 500 million hayi lo munye usemningi akekho omunye ngamfaka kuwona. By the time iya emsebenzini isiu 300 million 700 million uhambile. And you expect people to behave, to be proper. So that's why at all cost, where you see corruption, shoot. Hayi ngesibhamu, shoot ngokubopha. Kawunda, you spoke about you singing this song yakho, angazi igebengu nzenzani. You know, on the last stats, more people died on the parks and all that. Second, died in their houses. Third, died through vigilantism. It's really moving up. So, in Kokeli, they must warn their language on that one. Cut your language. Because many people that die there, they die innocently. With these statistics, 83 people were raped in the institutions of learning, the last statistics. And 67 of them were raped at crash. Yeah. Daycare school, daycare, are going to crash. Yeah. Were raped at daycare. 67, out of that 83, 67 were raped in the daycare. 5 in the university and 5 high school. But 67 were raped at the daycare center. We are a rotten nation, mos. Indaba in a nation. If we don't take sense in to change, if we don't change our ways, we're a dying nation. So let's make that call. While law enforcement will arrest everybody, we send them to court and all that. Are you aware that there were almost 20,000 people that are doing life in South African prisons? 20,000. All of a sudden, we're not going to have space because every because bayathukana abantu out there. So if you run from those insults, you are not a leader. We must go there and develop isikhumba sengwenya and listen to what the people say. They are angry, some of them. Angry. Give them hope, work with them. So that's a call I'm making. As we rise from here, don't go and revise what was said. Go and do what has been said here. That will give us much better results. When you do it, not revise it, not writing paper of designation and masters out of it. Do take these species in your zama masters in. Most of you in zama masters in species it. Asta ma masters ni zama masters ni. Thola ukuthi ucela ucoachiwe lapho ucoachiwe lapha kana masters kodwa. I-grant inikwe yakho. Let's go and walk and be part of the people. But the best thing we can do is to create a community. When a young woman, alone in the middle of the night, can walk alone. From point A to point B. When a young woman, when he sees a human being, man, and seeing a pit bull, dog, should not run to the pit bull, but should run to the human being. But today, women can run to a pit bull rather than running to a man. You are a danger to these young women. You can't rape 10,000 women in 3 months. You are a danger. Men, you are a danger to society. And it's men who are raping these women. Not just men, fathers, uncles, brothers, grandfathers, stepfathers. You are a danger that is supposed to be supporting and protecting these women. You are a danger, man. Don't care how many police you create. I don't care how many courts. I don't care how many prisons. If men don't make their ways straight, we're not going to deal with it. Thank you very much.
Sibonge Makai. I think you have been able to pull together this morning's discussions into a very sound foundation of how we're going to be able to take forward the responsibilities that this summit would entrust upon us of creating a better tomorrow in our city, in our province, and indeed in our country. I understand you've been saying, Dosi, you don't know how long you'll be here, so we'll request you to come forward with his worship and also some partners in civil society, Ubaba Umbuyazi, Bishop, Ubaba Umhlongo, Ubaba Daniel Biangu, no Baba Umadlala, so that no city manager, so that you can just sign the pledge, and after which we will then go for lunch. After lunch, we will then proceed with our program. If ngicela nje nize ngaphambili.
I've been looking for your number. Ntombazana uyakushuta phela. Ubani usuthayo? Lokhu Ben. Bengicelile zona. Ifoni yami ayisebenzi. Bayangithola. Usuke eBhabheni.
Dora masisi kanje
What's your complaint?
ngiyacomplain akwazi ukucomplain mayelana
Bishop, you should pray for this signature.
There are people from CPF. Nomonde, I think, is one of them. And Anele, that we have been here since yesterday. They should come also and sign.
I know, not definitely.
You did one.
Oh, okay.
Hello. Ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to read out the pledge to all of you, for those of you that back can't see.
It's the annual Anti-Crime and Social Cohesion Summit in the presence of our mayor and our minister and all the partners with us. Just please wait on stage. Just want to read out the statement to say that on this day of the 7th of December 2022 at the Durban Exhibition Centre, I hereby pledge, and that is the individuals here, and you will be given an opportunity later to sign, all of us will sign today, to combat racism, to work with all stakeholders to end sexism and promote gender equity, to report corruption.
We can break for lunch. If I just request that we go through